Hello, everyone. It is LMAN back at it again, interviewing Smash players. Mostly it's been Puerto Rican players, and one TikToker by the name of iGreg. I welcome a brand new one, and one you may have all seen destroying people after being told he cannot play with the bots, and then he went back to GameCube and said, "Yo, what the fuck were you saying? It's the one and only our beloved Captain Falcon player, Sean. Say hello, Sean."
Hey guys. Hey, thanks for
Uh,
having me.
no, 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 no. The pleasure's all mine. You literally said, "Sure, I'll do it." Let me tell you something. Getting high level people here is not easy. You're the first one.
Well, yeah, as you saw, where we both had very busy schedules. Took like a week and a half to coordinate this.
Yeah, yeah. But that is not the important part. The important part is that we all speak our speaks right now.
Mhm.
All right, and so the first question I'm gonna ask, Sean, we all know your tag is one of those tags that is just first name only. Did you ever consider putting something else? Because my name is Luis, yet my tag is LMAN,
Mhm.
and I know one guy at the beginning of Smash Ultimate here whose name was John Serrano, and that was his tag. Yet
Mhm.
other people, most people just put something else. Like there's a guy called Christian here. They call him Blue Thunder. There's a guy called Hector, but it's like a fusion of both, and they call him Vectorek. So what's the story with yours? Just using your name.
Mm, so originally I used to go by Kashmir in Smash 4, and
Uh-huh.
that was inspired by a musician named Kashmir Cat. He was one of my favorite artists, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like stole from that. But the reason why I switched to my first name was when I near the end of Smash 4, I had started working. I started going to college, and when I went back, kind of back to the real world, kind of like because when you go into Smash, you kind of like it's kind of like a separate world, and until maybe like esports becomes more popular and Smash becomes more mainstream, there is kind of a disconnect between Smash and the real world,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you have like that dissonance between names that you have like a separate identity almost. So when I went back to like when I first started working my first job, people were calling me Sean, and that's like my actual name. And then when I went back to a tournament after like working for a couple months, people were calling me Kashmir. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's like someone. It's like a not your real name. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this feels kind of weird. So I'm gonna try switching back to my first name and seeing how it feels. And I liked it. I liked like a single identity instead of being like Bruce Wayne and Batman or like something like that. It's
Yeah.
like having to manage two different identities. Um, and it's a topic that I've been actually I thought about it a lot because a lot of people didn't like it when I switched back to my first name, even though I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like there are so many Sean's in the world. There are so many Johns in the world. There's so many people who
Yeah.
have those first names, and the with the advent of the internet, like all of those Sean's, Johns, Billy Bobs, they're all occupying the same space,
Mm-hmm.
which is why a lot of people don't have like usernames. If you try entering like Billy Bob or whatever, like John Smith as your email, there's going to be already a million John Smiths using that
Exactly.
name. So like the thing was the internet was really weird about how like it's affected naming conventions is that um suddenly there are all of these people who have the same name trying to occupy the same space, and I think that might be why tags were invented, and um, which is interesting. But my problem with tags is that it can create those two separate identities between the internet and real life.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how I feel about that. Let's say, if you wanted to change your name to like your legal name to be one and only like Elman, and like that was your real name in real life
Yeah.
and on the internet, or in Smash, that would be interesting. I don't
Mm.
know how I feel about it still, but that's the origin of how I got to Sean.
All right.
And it's the reason. One thing I do like about it is that it's very concise. It's very like a short name, and I've also extended it to like people being able to identify me as like Sean the Falcon is that they'll either say Sean the Falcon or they'll say Sean of Raw, which is my Twitter handle.
I have not heard of Sean the Falcon, but Sean of Ra, I've read it, and that's because of your username.
Yeah,
And and you say like there's this type of, like a separation between the real you and
mhm,
the smash you. But what would
yeah.
you say for the cases where, some people already knew each other from before then, or they just bring them to the smash scene, and those people already know them by their real name, and yet they call them by the real name, and it catches on to
Mhm.
some other people. What would be your take on that?
Yeah, you see that at tournaments. Like you see people here. There's a player here called MFA.
Hmm.
He's a LMAN player, and when his friends are cheering for him, he'll say like, "Let's go, Axel." They're not gonna say like, "Let's go, MFA," because like they have that familiarity with him, and
Mm.
they're gonna cheer for him by his first name, but not by his tag.
Right. All right. Well, I guess I don't have to worry about that because I have three separate things going on. My real name, a high school name that happened to be carried over to the western region of Puerto Rico as a
Mhm,
nickname for me in the Smash scene, and then those who actually just call me LMAN in the Smash scene as well.
mhm,
All right, and something I want to ask, right? We all know you went on a road trip with your car
yep.
uh, to just beat other Smashers. I want to ask, had you had the editing skills and the motivation or time to do a video like Ted Nivision and Eddie Mercury did for Rainforest Cafe, would you do it?
Mhm. It's funny because when I first started playing this trip, um, a lot of people didn't see the vision for what I wanted to do,
Mm,
but a couple people did, and one of the people that was like that saw what I saw or like saw, yeah, something like that. They saw something. They saw value in what I was doing. They were like, they're like, dude, you could like make this into a spectacle or like into like a video or something like that, like something that could be really interesting to watch.
yeah.
Like you could make like daily vlogs, or you could make like you could do Twitch streaming, or you could like turn this into like a YouTube video, like with the title like, oh yeah, like I traveled in my car across the country for 6 months, or like for whatever. There's like those kind of quick clickbait titles everywhere on
Hmm.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you could definitely like farm some really good content from this, and I seriously considered that, but the reason why I didn't end up doing it, not because wasn't because I didn't have the editing skills or the video making skills, but mainly was because I um, didn't want to detract from the experience of the trip
Hmm.
by turning it into um,
Business.
yeah, turning it into business. Mainly, I mean, I think the part of the a part of the trip that not a lot of people like know about or think about is like the spiritual component of it, because
Hmm.
one of the reasons why I wanted to go on this trip in the first place, or like live in my car, was the feeling of being trapped in like a house, or like in like being uh like being trapped in a house that you can't ever own because you're just forced to, like, you're just paying rent and you're like a slave to the job you don't like,
Hmm.
and being able to go out and leave that place and go on into like an adventure across the country was very interesting to me, and I felt like turning that into a business, or like turning that into some content, could kind of cheapen the experience or like detract from um my personal experience of the trip.
All right. All right. And
So
would you
go
do it
ahead.
again for content?
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that. Like,
Oh.
if I did it again, I probably would be doing that for content, because I already experienced it once, and I have that. Not only do I have the personal experience now, but I also have the practice necessary to make it happen. Like, I won't be scrambling to like try to make like a daily video while also um be worrying about how much, if I'm not going to get enough practice for the tournament that night. So
Hmm.
I'll know, since I've like done this for so long now, even if it's like 6 months to a year of like living in my car and 6 months of traveling while going to Smash tournaments.
Hmm.
It's I have that experience of like I know what to do in certain situations, and I know how to fit in time for like the business part of it.
All right, all right. And since you say the second time would be a content related time, would you bring a buddy with you to make it a lot more bearable?
um, well, you could say that it'd be less bearable if you brought someone with you because the thing is about traveling with someone is that you have to always kind of butt heads about like where you're gonna go next or like what you're gonna do. Like let's say you
Hmm.
wake up in the morning, you guys both have to agree on something. Are you gonna go to Walmart to go some groceries? You're gonna go like you want to go to the library? Do you want to go like go see? You want to go to the aquarium? Like there's all kinds of things you can do, and the the wants between you and that other person are always going to be like conflict or clashing with each other even if you guys agree with like each other most of the time, you have to check in with that person and like confirm with them or like talk with them. Whereas if you're by yourself, you can do whatever you want and you don't have to check with someone or something like that. So, um, and it also depends on how introverted you are or like how your like social battery works. If it gets drained
Yeah.
easily, then you might not want to have a travel buddy. I decided that I actually really like traveling without people, especially if it's I don't like traveling, especially if it's with people I don't like. But
Hmm.
if it's with like a really close friend traveling, yeah, I could
Hmm.
see that for sure. Someone to travel with you is would also be very nice for practice, of course,
Yeah.
especially if they're good, but also for someone to keep you company because a lot of the time when I'm traveling, like I'm the invader, and a lot of time like everyone's cheering against me, so I gotta like it's even though they can be like the people can be friendly at tournaments, it won't be until like after the tournament that we'll like start talking and be friendly because like that's after the competition's over.
All right, all right. And you've also been using the bots, right? And that's been the hot topic with you lately. And
Mhm.
how would you rate the bots in general from your perspective, your play style plus your character? And don't try to mention Kazuya over the Smash bots because we all know if Kazuya uses the Smash bots, he becomes top 10, top 5 for free.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. He seems really good with box. Um, I'm still not like super convinced that he's really good on box. I think if there was a character that was good on box, it'd be Kazuya. But
Hmm.
as it stands, I mean, I've already did the interview with PG Stats, and I already made like a Twitter thread about like the box in depth. So I won't go into it too much, but basically, um, as it stands, the box is all right. It's like it's like a lot of investment for like some decent reward, but um, if you're not using Kazuya, then it's like all right. Like when I go into tournament now and I see someone playing box, I'm like, okay, like I know the disadvantages to this controller and I know how to abuse them. So like I don't feel like really scared when I see someone with box because I understand the strengths and weaknesses of it now. And it's like when people see that, they're like, oh dude, he's cheating. Like, oh yeah, this controller's broken, but like I know the pains of that controller, so it's like I know like how to counter it. So I'm just like, yeah, that controller's all right.
Hmm. All right. So you would say that the bots only fit certain characters, is what I'm hearing, right?
Theoretically, yeah, and it maybe could like um improve other characters in certain matchups, but what are you gonna do? Like you're gonna practice two controllers at once and switch off controllers for different matchups? It's like it just becomes so complicated that you just choose like why not just choose a better character and simplify it with like GC? Like just play like Steve on GC or like Kazuya on box. It's like not that big of a deal.
All right, all right. I've there's a coach here in Puerto Rico who uses the bots. His name is Mitten. And for those watching, check him out on Metafy. He said that he's gotten some Pikachu bots only techniques. Would you say
Hmm.
Pikachu in your experience of facing different Pikachus? Would you say he's one of the characters that could benefit from bots, or
Yeah, he can do double quick attack up,
oh,
and that's apparently really good. ESAM has been experimenting with it as well, but I think the problem that these players are going to run into with Pikachu is that they're going to find out that their close quarters movement and subtle movement is going to be like really really hard because on box all of the things that are easy are hard and all the things that are hard are easy.
Interesting.
And since subtle movement is such a important key part of high level smash, um making that hard is just so much hard, like so much harder to execute at high level, and you need that extra, you will need like several months of intense practice to match high level subtle movement on GC.
All right. Interesting. Interesting. And then something I want to know. Now, and since we're starting to talk about characters, what got you interested in Captain Falcon as a character?
um, it's hard to say. When I first got into Smash, I got into Smash from watching the Melee documentary,
Yeah.
and something about the Isaiah episode of that documentary just was really captivating for me, and I just really liked Falcon just from the very beginning, and he was really the only character I had my eyes on, and him and Ness because I really liked Earthbound as a series. I played that around that same time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very influenced by both those things: the Melee doc, especially Isaiah, and the Earthbound series.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning of Smash 4, from the very beginning, I made Falcon, and um, it was Falcon and secondary Ness.
Mm-hmm.
But and then when it came out for when Ultimate came out, Falcon was kind of bad at the beginning, so I was like, this I kind of don't enjoy this game. But he got buffed, and then my own personal circumstances led me to playing the game again. So, you know, love him or hate him, I'm just like a lot of the time I'll just feel like I'll come back to this character. I'll always come back to this character whether I want to or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I'm a knight, so I know the feeling of a character being bad.
Hmm.
And since we're already on Captain Falcon, have you played an F-Zero game or haven't tried one yet?
Uh, can you repeat that? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry about that. It appears my mic must have gone away. An F-Zero game. Have you tried one, or willing to try one,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
just not interested?
Oh yeah, I played the F Zero series. F Zero GX is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that's the only one I love, but the other ones are alright. F Zero GX, the thing that's special about that is just like the aesthetic of it, and it's so fast and it's so like I don't know, there's something like hardcore about it. It's hardcore and futuristic. That's what I like about it. Um, I would like to see a Smash game or some kind of like platform fighter, or I'd be interested in creating a game that had that kind of aesthetic, something like that, or Jet Set Radio, where it's like with the like with mechanics similar to Melee, where it's like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fast, um, cool technical movement and combos. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I really like that stuff. I like the like high speed, high octane stuff.
Well, what if I told you well, this is only if you're interested. Maybe, just maybe, I could get you on some of that Project Plus.
Oh yeah, I play PM. I haven't played the P plus.
Oh, it's a spiritual successor to Project M. It's the one everyone's using, and it has Knuckles.
Yeah, dude, PM or P plus. It seems so cool.
Mm.
I also play Melee. I play Falcon and Melee too.
Oh, very
Um,
nice.
the the problem with that is that there's no support for it, and they'll get shut down even
Yeah.
if they
Hmm.
they'll get shut down by Nintendo even if they want to like even if it's like a more fun game to play than Ultimate, which is so frustrating.
It is. It is.
Because
It is. P plus is the
but
goat.
some I think some new news to give the situation a more optimistic look is that um, you see all the kinds of new platform fighters and other fighters coming out soon. Multiverse just came out.
LeBron
New
frame
Rivals
data.
Leader. Yeah, LeBron, dude, LeBron could low key be like a merger between sports and and esports,
Oh
which
yeah.
is kind of funny. like esports is already really popular. I think it's actually more popular than regular sports in places like Korea. But
Yeah.
in the U.S., it's still kind of like low key. It's been growing a lot, but it's still not nearly as popular as regular sports. So the idea of a sports character being in an esports game is
Hmm.
kind of a funny idea, which is it's a funny idea, but it's also a cool idea. Um, Other than that, you have the League fighting game coming out,
Hmm.
and all of that stuff gives Nintendo competition. It's like, are you gonna like let us just take this free money for innovating in these platform fighting genres, because Nintendo's been super reluctant to make that jump from like Smash just being a children's party game into something people take seriously.
Mm. Well, I mean, just look at most of the DLC in Smash's history and Brawl Meta Knight, and they'll give you a look on how Nintendo like views Smash. Don't
Though I
worry.
will say that Nintendo's heart for creating games is still like unparalleled. Even though multiverses and Nick
Yeah,
All Stars, whatever it's called, even though it's come out and it's featuring famous IPs, there's something about those games that I don't particularly love. Like it feels like I don't know, it
choppy.
feels more cheesy or cliche than Smash because um, it doesn't have that level of polish. It doesn't have those same kind of sound effects design, the sound design that Ultimate has or Melee has.
You know, if you look at
But
multiverses carefully, it kind of does feel like another Nick All Star Brawl in terms of how it was designed, because they also have the same choppy-ish animations. Not to insult the
mhm.
developers, but yeah, you know, they don't got the Nintendo money.
Yeah, they don't. But the one thing they do have is that they're actually willing to engage with the community and
Exactly.
hear feedback and stuff. I'm pretty sure they just had a patch for you know that incorporated some of the community's feedback. So I think the the willingness to cooperate with the community, as well as the willingness to put in the work to polish the game more, will help a
Hmm.
lot. You
Yeah.
know what's interesting?
What?
A couple of years ago, I was looking through the like old um, video game magazines I used to have as a kid, and um, Fortnite. I found out that Fortnite came out like years and years before it became popular, and
Really?
yeah, so I think it came out in like maybe mid 2010s, like 2015, 2016, which was really interesting to me because people were saying, "Oh yeah, since Nick All Star Brawl didn't have a good release, it doesn't matter that they're adding good stuff now because a failed release makes it like it can just cause the game to die." But when I thought about the thing about Fortnite, I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be necessarily like that. You could have you can give a game a second life like that if there's like the right push. So I still have some interest in seeing how Nick All Star Brawls or whatever it's called, the Nick game develops, and I'm interested in seeing how the multiverses game develops, even if they don't have that money and they don't have that like super popular release.
Very true words. Among Us also had a similar release like that. It came out in
Mm-hmm.
2018, but then 2020 came along, pandemic, yada yada, and now everything you go is Among Us.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in these kind of topics because one of the other reasons why I wanted to go on this trip is that I think I wanted to take Smash seriously and
Hmm.
kind of treat it almost as like it's funny to say like a digital martial art.
Oh,
That's one
interesting.
of that's how one of the melee players. It's one of the melee players calls it mech. He's a melee Falcon, and he calls it digital martial arts. I think that's a cool idea to think about. I know it's like kind of like funny to think about because you're like, it's you can like reduce it down to people just looking at a screen and just like playing in a digital fake not real world,
Hmm.
but I have some faith in seeing how the world merges with the digital world. I think it's a very interesting thing.
Who knows? Maybe you can go into VR, do Falcon knee, and win the set. How would you feel about that?
Definitely would probably feel better than seeing it on TV because it'd be like much more immersive.
Yeah, you'd feel it. Heck, you could even
Yeah.
have like a little on the kneecaps. You could
Yeah.
probably they could probably have like a little shock thing. So when you actually hit the
Yeah.
person, you feel the tingle, and then you're like, yeah! And then Hungry Watts is still gonna do his regular reactions to it, you know?
Yeah. He'll be rolling on the ground.
Yeah, but we all know
Yeah.
if Hungry Bots had that virtual stuff, he wouldn't be touching the ground. He would just be, ah, when am I touching the ground? Uh,
So yeah, all that kind of stuff is very interesting to me. I'm interested in seeing Smash grow into something bigger than
mhm,
than what it is now, and it's come so far too. Really, it has. Like I remember when I first came into Smash Four, and seeing what it was, and now like seeing where Ultimate is. I've seen like players being offered scholarships at colleges um for Ultimate, and um I've seen like collegiate teams for Ultimate now. It's really cool. Really
mhm,
kind of mind blowing stuff. It's weird to see. Like I've been able to have the opportunity to see these kinds of things. I've been traveling to like I'll go to I'll go to Michigan and I'll see that the local college tournament has like an esports center in the college, and like at that esports center they run Smash tournaments, which is like
mm,
really cool, you know?
yeah, I see what you mean. But you know, that it, we most of us won't have that luxury. But sooner years in the future, maybe these new up and rising kids playing Ultimate, you know, will be able to get those scholarships.
Hmm.
And back to the games and stuff like that. Would you say Ultimate, despite the people complaining online, despite the many tournament results we wish weren't real, do you think the game is currently in a healthy state, or is there something we could
Hmm.
do to fix it? And
It's a good question. Um, Nintendo shoots themselves in the foot a lot with this, since not very they're very reluctant to cooperate. It hurts a lot of the potential growth. We've had
yeah,
to fight tooth and nail just to get, an inch.
hmm
Um, but I think the one thing that's hurting Ultimate the most right now is the lack of seasons, and lack of patches with those seasons. Because you'll see a game like Tekken,
hmm
you'll see new characters coming out, and then those characters like the balance of the roster being progressively changed. I'm pretty sure the same thing happens with Street Fighter, where the game will live for several like multiple years, and the game is continually being updated, like different balance patches happening, so that a character that wasn't super good last season suddenly becomes good, and
hmm
vice versa. For Ultimate, a lot of people kind of despair that Steve is like, the best character in the game. He's always going to be the best character in the game, since the game is dead, because the game is only dead because there isn't new change happening to it other than within the meta. Like new counter tech can be um, discovered, maybe to deal with Steve or Kazuya, like optimize interacting with them,
hmm
but as it stands, they're still very good characters. Kazuya is still a character unless some kind of new SDI mechanics is discovered, that Kazuya will always be able to theoretically touch a death to you. And I think for a lot of players, it's very disheartening.
Yeah, it also kind of disheartens me. I see some. I last week I was facing up against someone. Game two, they pulled out the Kazuya, and I went into a mini panic attack there, especially since I main DK with a sword, which is like. And speaking of those patches, what aside. Actually, no. Let's not put aside because your opinions may be a little different. What characters would you nerf? What characters would you heavily nerf or redesign something that they're still usable by their players, but it doesn't dishearten others? And what characters do you think need a buff that make them better, or characters that need a redesign that make them function more like a representation of their game?
I don't really think it matters for the health of the game because as long as those patches are still coming out, it continually gives people that hope that that something new is going to come and something new and interesting is going to happen aside from developments in the meta. Even if Kazuya, let's say Kazuya Electric is like it's one patch, the only change is that it electric goes from like 10% to 8% damage or
Hmm.
10% to 7%. It's those little things that like it's like okay, well, this wasn't the last patch, and there's gonna be another patch like probably soon, maybe like in a couple months, and there's something to always look forward to.
Hmm.
So, um, as a competitor, it doesn't. I have the mindset of like since I'm competing to win, it doesn't matter who's in the game and like oh if only this character wasn't like this or if this character had this. It doesn't matter to me because I have to just accept the game as it is and play to win. So when I'm playing as Kazuya, I'll say like I'm not gonna focus on like man this character is so annoying. I'm gonna focus on like okay this character is really good or has really good tools, but at the end of the day he's still gonna be in the game, so I have to figure out how to beat him. And I'm gonna go into training mode. I'm going to you know turn this into a numbers game. I'm going to see what moves I can react to, what moves I can punish. If there are certain things about the character that I'm going to pick up the character to see if there are things I don't understand about the character, see that there are hidden weaknesses in the character. I'm going to pick up the character to see what feels good and what feels bad to hit with the character, what things are hard. So so that when I'm playing against these players now, I have that character empathy and I can see like what they're doing and what they're not doing and how to beat it.
Okay.
And with that comes like a little bit of um, respect for some of the stuff they do because if you don't understand what's happening, you're like, dude, he just hits me with electric and I die. But then you see like you understand the execution required for some of the combos, and you're like, I'm surprised. I'm surprised he hit that 2 frame window, or I'm surprised like he got that turnaround really well. Like you can have that respect for some of the things they're doing if you're understanding the skill behind some of it.
I get you fully. The only reason I feel I managed to they beat the Kazuya despite the mini heart attack was that I feel that Kazuya is a character that's really susceptible to bait and punish aerials because
Mhm.
he'll be at a nice distance where you can just react to most things. His projectile isn't the greatest. It can kill. It can kill at certain situations. I don't. I won't forget to say that. But you can see it. And if you low profile him, if he's doing something above, right, that can just lead to a nice grab into a nice tech situation. So Kazuya, I feel like he's gonna become a character that he's gonna be able to be dealt with much easier. But then another side to it, we also have ice climbers, and people have been complaining about ice climbers ever because they aren't as
People complain
relevant as
about a
Kazuya.
lot.
Yeah,
They'll complain about anything.
yeah. I feel like the reason ice climbers gets away is because they aren't as relevant as Kazuya. But if people started picking up ice climbers, they would. But then I tried to do an ice climbers combo and I was like, wait, I got a side smash and then hit a grab this fast. And I just said
Yeah.
no, 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 hell no. Although the only game I will complain about the ice climbers is in Brawl and in Melee. Melee because wobbling and Brawl because of their chain grab. That
Mm,
that just keeps stacking up. Basically, they're
mhm.
Brawl's version of wobbling.
Mhm.
Would you say wobbling is worse than these brand new zero to death characters, or would you say that or would you say that wobbling was easy to deal with in some regard?
Um, I'm not a big fan of wobbling just because it's so boring to watch.
You
With
know?
Kazuya, even though people complain about him, people love watching Kazuya.
Oh yeah,
People do
because
not love watching Icy's wobble you for a minute.
no, no, no.
for 60 seconds.
Heck, Mewtwo King got depressed the moment he got wobbled on stream. You can
Yeah,
even
that's
look
a
it up.
classic picture. That's a classic picture.
Unfortunate Smash events.
Yeah,
And if you want to go to Melee and try it yourself, I'll tell you how to do it. Basically you have to press Z and A or
I've done
just
it.
Z and a
I've done it
rhythm.
before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
play melee.
oh yeah, that's right. How what's the highest percent you ever got with it?
Uh, I've learned it. I wasn't good with it.
Oh,
Like I
oh.
probably got to like 15 to 20%. Like I I've learned how to do it, but I
Mhm.
didn't like practice it.
All right. All right. And for one last question, what would you say for players that are struggling to improve?
Hmm. Well, I think it depends on what you want,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of different resources out there more than ever for improving. So I mean, it really depends on how bad you want it. Like, are you playing Smash like your life depends on it? Are you playing Smash as a hobby? And if you're playing Smash as a hobby, you don't have to really worry about like you don't have to worry too much about like doing bad sometimes, just because interacting with the game and playing the game, it can be fun. And it still contributes to the game growing as a whole, and we're working towards building something better for like a better community experience or whatever. I mean, and even beyond that, you can just have fun within the community. Smash is still a very community oriented, um or Smash has a very community centered fan base still, because it's still a little bit grassroots.
Hmm.
um but if you're looking to get better, like seriously get better, um the biggest thing is paying attention and keeping your eye out for all kinds of things, because you can learn new things from all different places.
Hmm.
So you could, learn something listening to a Tweak Talks episode. You can learn something listening to, um, someone talking about the numbers part of like the math game part of Ultimate. You can learn something listening to Mango playing, or like Mango talking about Melee.
Hmm.
You could learn something from playing people from different places. You can learn like from different discords playing different people. Um, improvement isn't linear, so it's good to look in different places and look for new ideas and how to improve. I think the players who are near the top, from what I've heard, is that the players who are near the top, they're always thirsty for more things. Like, no, they're thirstier than anyone else for new information about the game. Like, for example, I heard Daigo. He's a Street Fighter player, one of the best Street Fighter players of all time.
Yes, I
I heard him
remember
talking
Daigo.
about how he got like what?
Yeah, I said that. Yes, I remember Daigo
Mm.
and how he's
Um,
41 years old. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. He was talking about how some of the best players in Street Fighter are the ones like who are always thinking about the game. After a tournament, they win or lose, they'll find certain um interactions that they didn't know an answer to, and they'll go into training mode, and they won't find one answer. They'll find like three or four answers to it. Let's say I don't know how to deal with Ivysaur or Nair in neutral, and after the tournament, I'll go into training mode and I'll figure out three or four different answers to that. So next time I play, I'll have all these new options, and not only will they have those answers, but they're also practice executing it. So like resources like training mod are super super good for people who are looking to get better and seriously get better.
All right,
So
very nice. And and before you leave, right, since we're 9 minutes over the limit I have given you to not take up much of your time, but don't worry about it. That was on me, so don't worry. I want to ask, you want to say something to the audience before you leave, like a little goodbye message, something you want them to keep in mind, or I have like a little announcement that you'll say here. Not many people will watch, and then you'll announce it on Twitter, and then everyone will be like, "Yeah, bro."
um, wait, what kind of announcement am I making? Like something just like a goodbye message, or like something
I
that?
mean, you could do a goodbye message, and
Okay.
or you could do a goodbye message, announce something you're gonna announce on Twitter after this, or hear me out. You could tell me who do you think I should get in here?
Hmm. Well, I do have something to say that I would like people to hear, because this is
Yeah,
something I've noticed in a in all different places that I've been to in regards to Smash.
yeah.
I think that it's good to keep believing in the dream of Smash, because a lot of people who are playing this game, a lot of people are riddled with like doubts, self doubts about like playing the game. It's like people who are older, they're like, you know, am I really a grown man playing a children's party game? Am I really just, you know, I'm just like escaping reality by playing this game? But yes, you can think about it that way, but another way to look at it is that we are brought to this game for all kinds of different reasons, but we're like drawn here by this intuitive like interest in the game, and I think people should give themselves more credit for seeing something in this game that other people don't see,
Mm-hmm.
and believe in the game, or you know, in some by some extension, believing in themselves, as cheesy as that sounds.
Okay. And to follow up, who should I get here?
Hmm. What are you looking for?
I don't know, just anyone really, because I've only got 190 something subscribers.
Hmm. I think a guy is interesting to interview would probably be Chase.
Is he from the same region?
He's from SoCal. He was
Oh,
the guy who was talking trash.
a trash talker. That would be interesting because if something
Yeah.
funny happens, I can just say, hey guys, check it out. I interviewed this guy, and then this thingy happened. All right, all right. And what's your goodbye message?
See ya.
Yeah,
That's
that's
my
it.
goodbye.
All righty then.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone.